loneliness that comes from him, and it's hateful. The album is really built on fictional real characters. So Jimmy Jazz was inspired by the Jimmy Cliff character in the movie The Harder They Come.
I remember Jimmy Jam.
Jimmy Jam.
Sorry.
Jimmy Jam.
I'm just here for
J-A-Z-Z.
Yes.
He says that at the end.
Jimmy Jam.
But Jimmy Cliff. Y'all seen that movie, The Harder They Come?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's one of the cheapest. I mean,
It's a low production value.
It's a low, but it was a hit.
The soundtrack was a big hit.
The soundtrack is amazing. Everybody has to have that soundtrack. It's one of the few soundtracks that everybody just has to have.
Yeah.
And
so was that a big influence on this album, you think?
Yeah, I think that the rude boy whole culture, subculture in Jamaica. Remember, Jamaica was an English colony all the way up until '62.
I lost sight of that. Yeah.
So, when these guys were growing up, Jamaica had just gotten their independence. And ska was a music that developed out of that whole culture. They went from calypso to ska, and ska was sort of the early Jamaican contribution to music. And so the Londoners just ate a lot of that Jamaican music up.
It's funny how, London, the British music scene, they're the ones who turned America on to the music we already had on our front doorstep with the blues. And then the same thing happened with the reggae, the Caribbean sound,
Sure.
if you will.
It kind of became a triangular trade. You had England influencing the United States with the Beatles invasion, the English invasion, and all that. The Motown scene really influenced all the reggae artists. They were listening to all that stuff. And they, of course, shipped that back to England. So it was a nice little triangle.
So, yeah, I think a lot of what ties those genres together is the idea of a groove. And that's what I really like about Jimmy Jazz, is that there's a groove to it, and there's a lot of overdubs in the guitar that add subtlety to the track itself. So sometimes you'll hear an acoustic guitar come out of nowhere with the upstrums.
The bulk of these songs were written by Joe Strummer and Mick Jones.
That's
right,
Johnny
and
Paul,
the
Clash.
And Mick Jones never seemed to be particularly concerned about his vocals being pretty. He was concerned, it seemed like, with them having a lot of character. Yeah. And Jimmy Jazz, I think, is a really good example of that. There at the end where he's almost scatting at times. Yeah. He's improvising.
We're gonna play one song and talk about it. It kind of fits in with this ska groove. This is actually a ska tune that I'm about to play. This is Rudy Can't Fail, and we'll talk about it on the back end here. But here's the Clash. Rudy Can't Fail off the London Calling.